Hi everyone, my name is Frances with IdeateTV. Today we are here with Ralph at Wondercon 2015 with Zenescope Entertainment. So Ralph, tell us a little bit about the company that you started and basically do everything for.
Do everything ever. Yeah, we're Zenescope. We've been around. It's our 10-year anniversary. We started in 2005 in Philadelphia. Joe, my business partner, Joe Brush, and myself, we were writers. We were struggling screenwriters, and I was an actor and living in LA. And we had this simple idea for a comic book, which was take the original Grimm's fairy tales and reinvent them for a modern era, I guess. And we kind of fused the Twilight Zone with fairy tales, and we came out with this comic book called Grimm Fairy Tales. Now we're up to issue 109, which is a lot of fairy tales to tell.
That's awesome. So where does your inspiration from setting these fairy tales apart come from?
Well, you know, I think Joe and I was always a horror fan, really. I mean, Joe and I were inspired by old school horror, like Twilight Zone, like Tales from the Crypt. And we just seriously just had this weird idea, and we had never written comic books before. He was a really big comic book fan. I was probably not as familiar. I got more familiar with the industry after we started writing comics, and I didn't realize how well it translated. Like, going from writing screenplays to comics was really a pretty natural transition. There's definitely differences, but I was always a huge film guy, and I loved movies. I loved scary movies. I loved horror. Stephen King was a big inspiration to me, of course, so that was always something that I think is a little bit apparent in my writing. Not to compare myself with Stephen King, of course, but yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, there's no one really to tell you what to do or where to go. And since you said you had little experience in the comic book world, how did you kind of navigate your way to such a successful company?
Trial and error. A lot of trial and error. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it was, I mean, there's certainly luck involved. I think surrounding yourself with people who know more than you and not being afraid to admit you might not know everything. And also you have to be willing to take risks, think outside the box, and that's what we did. We came from outside of the industry, so not knowing and not having an expectation, I think, helped us. Whereas, you know, and it was easy to separate ourselves. We weren't trying to do what other people were doing. We just wanted to do our own thing. Yeah. And I think that definitely helped us. And there was a little bit of ignorance in there, like we didn't know, you know, and so yeah, a lot of things merged together.
And so if you were to give any advice for someone who wanted to kind of break into this very unique industry, what would you tell them?
Run. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, what I would say is, A, obviously think outside the box. Don't be afraid of new ideas. And then B, on the flip side, don't be married to an idea. Never, you know, don't be afraid to, you know, it's an old saying, kill your darlings, if I can get it out. And it's, don't be afraid, don't get married to something that isn't working and keep trying to reach. Sometimes something might not work. You know, we've all been there. And I think if you're afraid to let an idea go, sometimes you get kind of stuck in a rut of trying to, you know, force something upon someone, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense.